Here's something nobody tells you the day you finally hit five figures. Your first $10,000 isn't a reward. It's an exam, and almost everyone fails it. Not because they're stupid, not because they're lazy, but because the moment that money hits your account, your brain quietly switches sides. It stops asking, "How do I grow this?" and starts whispering, "You've earned this." And that whisper is expensive, because $10,000 isn't just money. It's the invisible line between financial fragility and financial stability. Before that number, money feels like survival. You check your account before every purchase. Groceries, gas, dinner with friends. Every decision runs through the same quiet calculation. Can I afford this? And when something unexpected happens, a car repair, a medical bill, a sudden job change, your stomach tightens. Because deep down, you know you don't have margin. But the moment five figures appears in your account, something psychological shifts. For the first time, you're not one bad week away from chaos. You have breathing room, and breathing room changes how people make decisions. But here's the twist most people never see coming. That exact moment, the moment you hit $10,000, is also when most people sabotage their financial future. Financial regret surveys from adults under 40 all echo the same sentence: "I wish I started investing earlier." But when you trace that regret back to its origin, it rarely comes from being broke. It usually comes from one specific moment, one emotional decision, somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000. So imagine this: you grind for 2 years, side hustles, overtime, skipping trips, saying no when everyone else said yes, and then one day, it's there. $10,000, five figures, sitting in your account. Now pause, because this is the moment that quietly decides your next 10 years. Do you upgrade your life or upgrade your future? Vacation, new phone, car upgrade? Finally, I made it energy. It feels harmless, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't lose wealth at $100,000. They lose it at $10,000, because that's when they prove to themselves who they really are. And by the end of this video, you're going to see why this decision, made in a single weekend, can either accelerate your financial life or delay it by a decade. And the scariest part, you won't even realize which path you chose until years later.
Let's get brutally honest about what happens in your head the moment you hit 10K. Your dominant thought isn't, "How do I grow this?" It's 3 simple words: "I deserve this." And don't get me wrong, you do. You sacrificed, skipped trips, said no to things your friends said yes to. You delayed gratification in a world designed to punish it. So when that five-figure number finally lands in your account, your brain interprets it as permission. Permission to upgrade, permission to exhale, permission to finally live. And psychologically, that reaction makes perfect sense. Your brain is wired to reward effort with something visible, something you can touch, something that proves the sacrifice was worth it. A vacation, a new phone, a nicer apartment, a better car. Because investing doesn't feel like a reward. It feels slow, quiet, invisible. And here's where most people get trapped. Culturally, we've been trained to think exactly this way. Look at what social media celebrates: the vacation, the car delivery, the "I finally made it" post. What it doesn't show you is the person quietly opening their investment account, transferring $10,000 into index funds, and closing the app. That post doesn't exist. It doesn't go viral. It doesn't get likes. Because the truth is, wealth building is almost boring to watch. So your brain quietly starts calculating an equation you don't even realize you're solving. 10K equals lifestyle upgrade. 10K equals celebration fund. 10K equals proof that you've arrived. But here's the question almost nobody asks. What if 10K isn't a reward at all? What if it's a test? A test that quietly decides your financial identity. The moment where you prove to yourself whether you're someone who spends money or someone who builds it. And the uncomfortable truth? Most people fail that test before they even realize they're taking it.
Let me introduce you to Alex. 23 years old. He inherits $10,000. Not life-changing money, but enough to create real momentum if used the right way. He had two choices: invest it or enjoy it. He chose enjoyment. Flights with friends, weekend trips, nights out that slowly got more expensive, a nicer apartment he didn't really need. I only live once energy. 8 months later, the $10,000 was gone. No emergency fund, no investments, no assets, just memories, and a slightly nicer apartment he barely spent time in. Now here's the part that really stings. If Alex had invested that $10K into a simple index fund, averaging around 7% annually, and never touched it again, that single decision at 23 could have quietly grown into something much larger. By age 40, roughly $32,000 to $40,000. By 50, over $55,000. All lost to one emotional season at 23. But the money isn't the real damage. The real damage is what that decision teaches your brain. Because once your brain learns to treat $10,000 like fun money, it repeats the pattern. At $20,000, at $50,000, at $100,000. The number changes, the behavior doesn't. And wealth isn't built when your income rises. Wealth is built when your behavior changes. And for Alex, it gets worse. 5 years later, he loses his job unexpectedly. No cushion, no investments, $6,000 sitting on credit cards at 22% interest. Instead of compounding wealth, he's compounding debt. One fork in the road, one decision, and he didn't even know he was standing at it. But here's the truth most people miss. It isn't stupidity, it isn't carelessness, it's psychology. The human brain is wired to reward spending, not investing. Spending gives you dopamine now. Investing gives you results years later. And until you understand that wiring, your first $10,000 will disappear before you even realize what happened. Most people don't blow their first $10K because they're irresponsible. They blow it because of how their brain is wired. Here's what's really happening. First, reward bias. Your brain craves closure after effort. You grind for months, maybe years. Extra shifts, side hustles, saying no when friends say yes. After all that effort, your brain wants something visible, something you can see, something you can touch, something that proves the sacrifice was worth it. Investing doesn't give that feeling. It's quiet, slow, invisible. So your brain starts shouting, "I earned this. I deserve it. I need it now." Second, social proof pressure. When the people around you start upgrading their lives, posting trips, new cars, luxury weekends, your brain quietly starts negotiating with itself. "I've been working harder than them. I deserve this more." Sound familiar? That's dopamine talking, not logic. Here's the harsh truth. Spending feels urgent, investing feels optional, and dopamine doesn't care about your retirement account. But here's the part that changes everything. Identity. When you invest your first $10K, something fundamental shifts in your brain. You stop being someone who makes money, and you become someone who builds money. And that shift, it compounds harder than any interest rate ever could. Now, imagine two versions of yourself 5 years from today. Version A, you invested the money. $25,000, maybe $40,000, quietly growing. You have options, confidence, leverage, opportunity appears, and you can actually move. Version B, you spent it. Memories, yes. Fun, yes. But financially, you're standing in the exact same place. Maybe worse. Opportunities appear, and you watch them pass by, because you don't have the margin to act. So which version has more power? Here's the kicker. Most people don't consciously choose version B. they drift into it because short-term validation always feels louder than long-term leverage. And that's why this moment, your first 10K, is a psychological minefield. So what's the actual move? In the next chapter, I'll show you exactly how to split, lock, and leverage that first 10K so your future self doesn't just survive, but actually builds momentum.
If you've hit your first 10K, here's the move that separates people who dabble in wealth from those who actually build it. It's not flashy, not viral, not exciting, but it's the most powerful financial decision you'll make in your life. Step 1. Lock $5,000 into an emergency fund. High yield, liquid, untouchable. Why? Because life will hit you, and the first time it does without a cushion, you'll raid your investments at the worst possible moment. This isn't boring, it's the foundation everything else stands on. Your first 10K should protect you, not tempt you. Step 2. Invest $4,000 into broad index funds. Low cost, long-term, S&P 500, total market fund. Pick one and leave it alone. Why? Because boring builds wealth every single time. Day trading doesn't, hype stocks don't, patience does, time does, compounding does. Imagine this, $4,000 quietly growing at 7% a year. By age 40, over $32,000. By 50, over $55,000, all from a calm, disciplined choice you made in your 20s. Step 3. Spend $1,000 intentionally. Yes, spend some, but consciously, not on a car, not on a vacation. Spend it on skills that multiply your earning power. A course, a certification, a tool that makes you more valuable. That $1,000 can return $10,000 plus in income within a single year. ROI no vacation can touch. Now, let's get brutally honest about the alternatives. Option A, spend all 10K. Feel great for 6 months, then back to zero. Option B, build safety, assets, upside, simultaneously. One option compounds regret, anxiety, and stress. The other compounds freedom, confidence, and power. Here's the insight most people never see. Your first 10K isn't about maximizing returns. It's about installing a system. Once you protect money, invest money, and watch it grow, something subtle but life-changing happens. Your confidence compounds. Your behavior shifts. Your income ceiling rises. That's why people who treat their first 10K as seed capital accelerate faster later, not because of the amount, but because of the standard they set for themselves. Your first 10K should change your trajectory, not your lifestyle. It's the invisible upgrade that changes everything.
Let's land this. Most people see their first 10K as freedom to spend, but here's the truth. It's a fork in the road. One path gives you a story, memories, short-term happiness, fleeting bragging rights. The other path gives you momentum, momentum that quietly compounds for decades. Here's the final truth. Really sit with this. Wealth isn't built by big windfalls. It's built by how you treat small wins. If you can't handle 10K wisely, 100K won't save you because behavior travels with you, always. Next time you hit 5 figures, pause. Ask yourself, am I upgrading my lifestyle or my future? Because the decision you make at 10K doesn't just affect this year, it echoes for decades. And here's a teaser for what's coming next. The 100K moment, the point where most people dabble in wealth and a few actually build it. That next milestone, it hits harder than anything you've seen so far.